Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Piofiore 1926, continuing Nicola's route, but not really continuing. We're starting the bad endings, so technically we finished Nicola's route, we can start the bad endings now, and I found a footrest, so life is good, motherfucker! I was like, let me see if I have like a bin or something I could use as a footrest, you know, in my guest room, you know, because my whole thing last time, moving my chair around and everything, and oh my god, genius. I forgot the furniture I have. I bought this couch. I mean, it was just a cheap little couchy kind of thing for like when I was living with my ex-husband in the room that was my craft room slash like where I would go to play my games and whatever on my computer. And like it was just this little green couch that I got at Target for like $100. I'm like not even kidding, it wasn't that expensive. And like it has like two little footstool things that like slide underneath it. So you like pull them out and I was like, oh my god, I just take one of these footstools. So there we go, now I have a footstool. Doesn't slide under my comfy chair. But like I'm not replacing my comfy chair with this like kind of uncomfortable couch. I mean, that thing's been around for like 20 fucking years. Everything in my fucking house is like, okay, you know what? I mean, it's been around for a long ass time. I just want to put it that way. Maybe not quite 20 years. Almost. It's getting there. It's probably almost legal to drink at this point. The couch, you know. Anyway, starting Nicola's bad endings, and I now have a footrest, so all is sort of right in the world. Anyway. We just loaded up our save 1, so we're back here where we respond that I did sleep well. The bad choice that I would have said the first time. Anyway, yes, I did sleep well. You don't have to lie to me, you know. There are a lot of things worrying me. I'm worried about Gil and Dante, but more than that, I'm worried that something will happen to you too. But I'm feeling better now that I'm in your arms like this. Nicola pulled away a little to look at me, his arms still wrapped around me. I feel better now that I'm in your arms as he pulls away. Excuse me? I think I'll be able to push on a while longer. Okay, then we can skip. And we are supposed to skip all of the meanwhile stories. Remember, bad endings. Skip. Skip to Malou. We're gonna skip a little about. Nope. We don't want to know when you're little. I want to know more about when you were little, but not really, Nicola. I could give a fuck less. But see, we've also... So that CG that we're missing is gonna be the one that we have to go back and get, because it would have been before baby Nicola looking at his dead mother, and that we just saw that CG flash by, so... Anyway, ... I hesitated, wondering if it would be for the best not to dwell over the painful truth he had just revealed. I decided to wait for him to say something. Alright. Again, we're going to be skipping a lot, but I think because this is the tragic bad ending, that we are going to, like, chapters 5 and 6 are going to be different, so we'll be reading a lot. And again, Gil's took 2 parts. We didn't get through fully chapter 5 and 6. Yeah, because there's no way. None of the other ones have we ever been able to read 2 chapters in an hour. So, yeah, this is definitely going to take... It's weird. We're skipping this. Yeah, we skip all those. It's just weird because I don't remember anything aside from Gil's. Like, just bizarre. Anyway. Sorry, I was adjusting my headset. What do you mean? What do you mean? The question came out before I realized it. That's something you'll need to see for yourself. He offered me no answers. Nicola's doing one heck of a job without his boss. Seeing you torn about all this will make him lose the last place he can feel at ease. We already know that, so there you go. Should I just put up that and skip that? Skip all the meanwhile stories. No. No meanwhile stories. I refuse to read you. No! 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 I refuse! And the funny thing is the next choice is refuse. We refuse the kiss again? Even in the bad ending? Alright, well, okay. When do I get to let him kiss me? Nope. Skipping you too. Strange. Huh. Sorry, I got an itch now, and we're gonna get the choice as soon as I'm like, I have to itch my ear and adjust my hair because it's tickling me and like whatever. Hot milk for me. Nope. Skipping that shit. I don't want to know. Dante will understand. I'm sure Dante will understand. He knows more than anyone how much you care about him. Nicola chuckled briefly. I know caring isn't a free pass to act without consideration for others, but I do hope he'll see things my way. After a moment of silence, he spoke again, and then we skipped that shit because we don't care. Nope, not listening. Not listening to you meanwhile stories. What do you mean by stubborn? What do you mean by stubborn? I'm referring to Nicola Francesca. I told him everything that needed to be relayed, but he hasn't done his job of doing so. I figured he must be the one to share it, which is why I waited for so long, but... Yo, what do you mean? I was bewildered by Nicola's pained silence and turned to Teo for answers. Gonna find out he's our brother in this one? I mean, the tragic bad ending is gonna be we die or Nicola dies. I'm just saying, right? It's always somebody dies. I ran outside, but there was nowhere for me to go. This is different. I was so confused that I couldn't think straight, and before I knew it, I was drenched by the rain. And then he's gonna show up and give us kisses in the rain, and this will be the, you know. Peace! Oh, it's Elena. How long had I been standing here? Elena had come up beside me, putting an arm around my shoulders and leading me. Let's go back. Elena walked me inside. You know what's funny? Without a word, Elena gently draped a towel over my body and brought me a set of clothes. Get to it after, hold on. Hold that thought, put a pin in it. I asked the Belzone if they could both leave for the day. And they said you could stay here tonight and they'd station more guards just in case. Why don't we have a sleepover, Space? Huh? Oh, come on, it'll be fun. I was grateful to see Elena smile at me like that, and I nodded in response. Once we start skipping, we'll, The following day, the sky was clear again. So we don't get our kissy in the rain scene, because wasn't that where it happened? When several Falzone soldiers came to pick me up, Elena accompanied me to the manor. Well, come see me again at the church, okay? Thank you, Elena. After parting ways with Elena, I entered the manor and was promptly greeted by Bartolo. Welcome back. Is Nicola here? The master and Signor Dante are both out. See. I breathed a sigh of relief. Would you like something to drink? Thank you, Bartolo, but I'd like to rest in my room for a while. As you wish. After Bartolo gave me a courteous bow, I headed to my room. Even though Elena was there with me, I really didn't get much sleep. I slowly lied down on the bed. I felt a dense pain run through me each time Nicola came to mind. I closed my eyes, hoping I could finally rest. I woke from the knocking on the door. Night already? There was nothing beyond the window but the darkness of the night sky. I wonder who it is. I climbed out of bed, feeling the heaviness in my body as I walked to the door. I gasped at the sight of my visitor. Do you mind if I come in? Before I could respond, Nicola walked through the doorway, and I stepped back in surprise. I didn't expect we'd be reading this much in this chapter. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's me. Nicola, about yesterday. Nicola grabbed my arm and pulled me toward him. He quickly pressed his lips to mine. Could have gone a CG in that game. Could have I'm just saying. Seeing me surprised, Nicola pulled away. Don't say anything, Space. My blood's nothing to do with my feelings. I need you and I love you. And that's all that matters when it comes to us. I love you too, Nicola. I need you too, but Theo's words returned to mind, accompanied by an indescribable wave of anxiety. This is this is kind of like a sign that you're getting the bad ending. We know because we made the choices. We're using a guide. But I just feel like if you were playing, be like, this doesn't bode well. Just saying, you know? Seeing my hesitation, Nicola lifted me up into his arms. Nicola? He briskly carried me to the bed and laid me down upon it while staying on top of me. Oh, okay. You're anxious because we weren't together yesterday. It was lonely not having you in my bed. Nicholas spoke boldly as he stared into my eyes. There was an urgency in his voice, but the look in his eyes seemed like he was being pushed to his limit. Now uniting is what is all we need. I'm sure we'll both find out now how much we need each other. I know you need me. But Nicola... Let's find out, Space. You're a little forceful. I'm alright with it. I'll show you how much I love you. As many times as it takes until you know for certain. Nicola caressed my cheek, and I placed my hand over his. I wanted him to know how much I loved him from the bottom of my heart. Nicola gently ran his hands over my skin as if to savor every moment. Just as he said, I could feel the warmth of his love in his touch. My body responded involuntarily, and I felt the unease in my heart melting away. Oh, we're supposed to see this one, though. We're skip Bad Luck, but we watch Pressure. Oh, because we've already seen Bad Luck. But Pressure 2 is new. You know, that's really funny, though. Is it? I'm gonna hit the already red button. But I don't know. It's weird because I remember Pressure 3, and I was like, were there 2 other Pressure ones? I don't remember. But, like, maybe because Pressure 2 we hadn't read yet. Anyway, we'll see. About your envoy, he seems not to understand the gravity of my words. Oh no, this is new, okay. My wishes are that of the government. In other words, that of Il Duce. His disrespect has led me to a conclusion. Will not be able to cooperate with the church. Now, if you'll excuse me. So you've changed your mind. Ah, I see. Good to hear. As expected from His Holiness. I only have so many random voices, so... Anyway, my body responded involuntarily, and I felt the unease in my heart melting away. I knew this wasn't enough to make all our problems go away. We skipped Bad Luck, so we're not supposed to read that one, so. But I knew with more conviction than ever that the feelings we had for each other were real. Oh, alright, wow, this is... maybe it's all different from here on out. Because Chapter 5 is coming up. And we have another side story we do read. The following day, Dante and I went to Nicola's room so that we could talk. Why are Dante and I going to Nicola's room? Kind of feel like it should be Nicola and I went to Dante's room, but this is Nicola's room background. Regardless, I don't know. We're all 3 together, that's what matters. Seeing that Nicola and I were still together, Dante breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, see, it makes less sense if Dante and I go to Nicola's room together and then Dante sees us together. You know what I'm saying? So there's some weird typo there. The seriousness of his expression made me feel like he was about to say something important. Oh. Nicola closed his eyes. It's safe to assume that the church will turn their backs on the Falzone family. We need to seek out a different future for the family now. Dante reflected for a moment before speaking. So there was a little bit of that was the same because we accidentally skipped it. Sorry. Even if we could break the seal to the relic, would it be in line with our guardianship to hand it over to the church? What do you mean? The relic's value is beyond human measure. Its existence alone bears serious implications that have justified the secrecy surrounding it. For us to submit it now as political currency after generations of keeping it safe from human hands, I'm not sure that complying to their demands is the right choice for the keepers of the grave. And this may not be for me to say, but I don't think it's for the best to break the seal. Is there no other way to break it? Unfortunately, none that I know of. Even the known procedure of breaking the seal wasn't communicated to me in the first place. See, it's funny that Nicola's like, we shouldn't do it. And yet, interesting. In the good ending, he did it, right? which means there's only one thing to do. We need to begin a new life outside of Berlone. The only remaining option was the one that Dante found most difficult to stomach. Nicola continued. We can move elsewhere and still stand guard over the ruins where the relic lies by enlisting those we can trust to protect it. If we manage to maintain our footing in another place, our successors will be able to survive and return to Berlone when the time's right. And by the time the next generation comes along, perhaps the country will be in a better place. It wouldn't be the worst idea, you know? I understand what you're saying, Nicola. However, I can't make that decision right now. Can't make that decision now, sorry. I've never considered leaving Berlin before. I mean, Jesus Christ, you and all of New England. Like, basically, like, I can't leave the town I was born in. There's a whole state. There's a whole bunch of states. There's a whole world. Like, but never leave. Like, but I was born in this town, and I was raised in this town, and then I live in this town. There's another town next door. It's not even like most people, like, a lot of people don't leave the state that they were born in, but they move different towns. But, like, it's just this weird fucking phenomena that you run into just people who are like, no, I've always lived in this town. Just this one? Just this town. Never any other town. None? Really? It's not a very big town. This is Dante. It's fucking weird. I guess it seems weird because, like, I lived in, like, so many, like, not even a bazillion places, but I feel like a bazillion places compared to the people who have never lived in a different town. I mean, it's not even like you're leaving the country. You're not even leaving the town. I don't know. Understood. It's your choice, Dante. No matter what you decide, I will follow the decision you make as leader of the family. Yes, and for that reason I must deliberate on it properly. I'm sorry, but I need some time to think about it alone. Oh, it's okay. With that, Dante departed the room. Nicola let out a sigh as the door shut. So we are in Nicola's room. So Dante and I going to visit Nicola in Nicola's room makes sense. Except for then it's like Dante saw that we were still together. Well, but I was in Nicola's room, so why did I leave and then come back? It doesn't make, I don't know. I broached the topic carefully. If the Falzone leave Berlone, where will they go? At this rate, it'd be best to move abroad. There's no future left for the Mafia in this country. But, no, perhaps America would be a more modern choice. America. I know this isn't the right time to say it, but Nicola looked at me with a hint of melancholy. I agree with Dante in a way. And this was the place I was born and raised, and I thought I'd die here, too. I never once doubted that, and I never felt dissatisfied with my life here. Falzone family is my actual family. But in witnessing the changing times, it occurred to me that perhaps we might need to seek a new life elsewhere. Of course, it won't be easy to abandon our mission, guard the relic. Moving after all these generations can't be taken lightly. I wondered if it might also free Dante from the mission he's been shackled to his entire life. As I listened to Nicola, it reminded me of what happened last year. He had betrayed the Falzone family and taken action on his own. When Dante asked why, Nicola said it was because Dante was bound to the bloodline. At the time, I thought he was referring to the burden of responsibility Dante bore as the boss. Now I knew that it included his mission as Keeper of the Grave. Contrary to Nicola's wishes, Dante embraced the role he inherited. As such, I will live my life as a boss, and to the very end, a Falzone. I remembered how boldly he spoke back then. I'm assuming, yeah, that's Dante. It makes sense because he's the boss, so. It certainly wouldn't be an easy decision to turn his back on the town in some way. The feeling in my heart impelled me to speak. My world is smaller than yours, Nicola. I never thought I'd leave Berlone, much less Italy. I understand. But I don't want to be left behind. Space? The Falzone family... If you go to America, Nicola, I want to go with you too. I looked into Nicola's eyes with earnest. I knew it was easier said than done, but it was important to me. I don't want you to leave me. I love you, Nicola. Of course I love you too, but... Oh, wait just a moment, Signorina. I think there's been a major misunderstanding. I had no intention whatsoever of leaving you behind. I know it would be horrible of me to take you away from Berlone. But do you remember what I said when I asked you to be my wife? I thought you agreed back then. There's been a terrible misunderstanding. I have no intention of taking you. Huh? my bride. You were serious? We get to relive this moment. Do you think I was lying? No, I didn't think you were lying, but I thought you were still dreaming. When we spoke afterward, it sounded like you were just teasing me. Nicola let out a huge sigh. Regaining his composure, he looked at me. I have no intention of parting ways with you. In fact, I can hardly bear being away from you for even a few hours. Nicholas spoke somewhat jokingly, but his smile was gentle. So let me say it again, properly this time. Nicola took my hand and looked into my eyes. Please marry me, Spacey. I will. There'll be a lot of uncertainty ahead. Even Dante doesn't know yet what we'll ultimately do. With no other way of breaking the seal, we'll have little choice but to leave Berlone. And there isn't much time left. I understand. The more I learned, the more I could feel the urgency of the situation bearing down on us. We'll inform Sister Sophia first, then we can say our vows at the church while we're still in Berlone. It should be sometime soon. Yes, soon. I felt myself being pulled toward him as though we were already one. Our lips met each other's naturally, and a wave of joy spread from my heart throughout my body. Definitely read this one. It says read it. Press to view! Not skip it! What? Oh! Well! I'm going to assume this is Yang. We haven't figured out Yang was alive yet at this point, right? But I'm going to assume this was Yang. So did Teo employ Yang? Because who else would have killed him? Because it definitely wouldn't be Orlok. Sting. I don't think... I'm trying to think in the good ending, like, Yang had that little monologue side bit, right? But I don't think... I mean, we know he killed Henry, but he never really talked about Teo, so it's like, this is like, ooh, interesting, but not surprising. Anyway, I'm assuming it's Yang, so I'm going to read it like it is. Well, can't say I don't think it's strange to kill my own employer, but... Don't blame me, alright? I'm only doing my job. Didn't you get rid of people who were in your way, too? Just so you know. And that big shot Tarati from the government complained to our boss. No, okay, it can't be Yang. This doesn't make any sense for Yang. Well, I wonder if it's Raoul. Anyway, I'm just going to read it normal because I don't know who it is. It's definitely not Yang. Well, can't say I don't think it's strange to kill my own employer, but... Don't blame me, alright? I'm only doing my job. Didn't you get rid of people who were in your way, too? Just so you know, that big shot Tarati from the government complained to our boss. See, Yang wouldn't give any fuck about this. This was the giveaway. He said that you didn't do your job, Teo. That it was the wrong move to rely on the church, so they're going to sever ties. Some kind of formal complaint, I think. Which is why our boss has to save face with the government. I feel like it's probably... I kind of forgot that Raoul existed, to be honest with you. That's why my brain went to Yang first. But after all this, you're like, nah, Yang, stabbing, yes, but not any of this. Can't have anyone going against orders. Well, I don't have to tell you that, given our line of work. You know as well as I do that we can't expect proper treatment. It was your fault for not getting the results they wanted. Unless it's Johan. It could be Johan, and then they're just, like, not telling you in case... you play this one first, you know, and then... But it is weird that, like, they never fully introduce him. It would make sense if it's Johan. Well, oh, and it's starting to look like you were getting too friendly with her. So now seemed like the right time for you to die. Shoot, he's dead already. Ugh, damn it. I should have waited until later tonight. Such a pain cleaning up with the people around. How can I lug you on my back now? Damn it. You really are a pain in the ass. It actually could be Johan because, like, Johan, maybe that's why it's question marks because you're not supposed to have met Johan yet because he's not really pertinent in this route. Although it is very funny that Raul is related to the Falzones and yet was basically a cast-off side character in this one. He played more of a role in other routes and, like, wasn't even, like, wasn't he more of a character in Yang's route? Is that the one that he was? So weird. Anyway, our lips met each other's naturally, and a wave of joy spread from my heart throughout my body. As he said, there'd be many uncertainties, but as long as I was with Nicola, I felt that we could overcome anything. Are we going to get to chapter 5 now? Because I feel like this is the good timing for it. Because, yeah. All right. So now we're in a whole new chapter. Yeah. And now we do all the side stories and stuff. Because our original chapter 5 is espressivo. If I said that right. I don't know. But anyway. So, yeah. Now we get into 2 whole chapters of new stuff. So anyway, next time. No, I'm just kidding. Still got 30. You're like, wait a minute, what the fuck? We gathered together the next morning. Bartolo prepared individual breakfast dishes for each of us. Il was served a plate of golden brown toast with boiled salsiccia? I can't pronounce Italian words. I don't know how the C's are pronounced. But anyway, that. Which is a sausage made using minced or ground meats and herbs stuffed into a casing. Toast and sausage. Okay. I had a cup of rich cafe latte and some freshly baked brioche. As for Nicola, pancakes! No, I'm just kidding. I said I only needed espresso. Absolutely not. With as tired as you look, I believe something sweet will suit you well. Nicholas smiled bitterly, but obeyed, dipping a biscotto. Okay, whatever a biscotto is. Different than biscotti? Is biscotti the plural of biscotto? Mind blown. I don't know. I'm just like, wait. Like, anyway, into his coffee and taking a bite. So you're eating cookies! Like, biscotti and stuff like that are usually like, I mean, unless it's like, not biscotti, that's more like cookie-type biscuit, and this is more biscuity biscuit, maybe that, I don't know, okay? I don't know Italian shit. Anyway. By the way, where's Dante? He hadn't come down for breakfast yet. I noticed the lights in his room were on well into the night. He may be resting for a while yet. Well then, guess I should tell you first, Nicola. Gil set his fork down as he spoke. There have been reports of a string of stabbings around town. Given what we know so far, it doesn't seem the victims are connected. Stabbings? Most of the deaths in this town were related to the mafia, meaning mostly gunshot wounds. There was the occasional fight among the townsfolk, but nothing to this degree. It'll be the same guys who attacked my place, so I'm looking into it as we speak. Not gonna be, because it's not Yang. That was definitely like a... I'm assuming, to be honest with you... Holy goddamn shit, I just knocked my... thing off. Hope that's okay. Sorry, I just realized I knocked my... capture device, like my, Seagate drive, my little portable hard drive, permanently connected to my computer since my computer lost its 2 terabyte fucking hard drive. That was in solid state, totally busted 4 months after owning the computer. Oh my god. The trauma. I'm remembering that now. Anyway, and it's like, that's where all my recordings go. Actually, no. Wait. Oh, no, never mind, they're fine. They go into my C drive and then I save them onto... Like, I kind of forget which one's which, but, like, every once in a while, like, you look at it the wrong way and then it, like, kind of pops out of the dock, but I accidentally, like, knocked it off. So it was hanging, dangling there, but, you know, I was just like, oh, shit! My recordings go on my C drive, and then when I process them, they all go onto that, because that backs up everything, so... Anyway, I was like, oh my god, if that's where my recording's going and it jiggled loose, then something would be wonky with the recording. But I think we're fine, we're good. Anyway, sorry. This is what you come here for, is random bullshit in it. But yeah, I don't think it's definitely not Yang, because all that monologuing, definitely not what Yang would have done, and, you know. Could be Johan, but like, I don't think we're really going to find out. I think it's going to be left up in the air, just because why would they introduce him in the bad ending in this route? I mean, it's possible. I don't know. But anyway, even for petty thieves, this is quite unusual. Do you need any of our men to assist? Nah, I can handle this myself. You've already gone above and beyond for me. There's no way I can ask you for more than that. Besides, it's better if I move alone this time. Something that's been bothering me. Still, I appreciate the offer. Grazie, Nicola. I wish you the best of luck. Nicola nodded without any hard feelings. In any case, I may do a little investigating myself. I'll share my findings with you. Yeah, and I'll be sure to do the same. Anyway, see you later. With that, Gil stood up and headed out of the room. For such a horrible thing to happen now, of all times. I found myself looking down at the floor with worry. Signorina, is something the matter? Suddenly returning to my senses, I hurriedly took a bite of the brioche in my hand. Just then, Dante arrived. God, Dante's so beautiful. Good morning, Dante. Did you sleep well? Not really. He responded sullenly to Nicola's friendly greeting. Dante must have been worried all night. Master Dante, what would you like for breakfast? Cafe latte and some biscotti. That's fucking cookies! Like, biscotti are really, like, breakfasty things. Like, okay, maybe, like, real Italian biscotti, but the kind of, like, American biscotti that you think of when you think of biscotti is, like, that is, like, a fucking cookie, okay? That's, like, being, like, freaking, I want peppermint mocha and Nutter Butters. I mean, granted, I don't think my coffee I have, like, a freaking oatmeal bar, which is basically like candy, so, no different, but still, I kind of want Nutter Butters now. Anyway, right away. Bring me those Nutter Butters, bitch. Bartolo bowed and departed. Dante sat himself down, still looking as tense as he did last night. Continuing yesterday's discussion, and no matter my decision, I think we'll need to do more research on the legend first. That's true. I suppose we can't blindly take Teo's word for it. Yes, I've also heard of a family supporting the Falzone mission. However, there's a chance that they no longer exist after all this time. Emilio! I actually had Orlok look into whether the family does exist, so that we'd be able to get in contact with them if need be. Nicola took out a folded paper and held it out. There is no family, it's just Emilio. Dante took it and read over the contents. Rome. I don't know if this is the best time for us to leave town. I agree, which is why I've asked Orlok to try and make contact instead and invite them here. One step ahead of me, as usual. Dante looked impressed by Nicola's diligence. We don't really have much time left, so I just did what I could to help. That's right. Space, what are your plans for today? Nothing in particular. I was planning on reading a book in my room. I think I should be able to finish work early today. I'll send a car, so why don't we meet at the church this evening? Oh my god, that's why I was so gonna just wonder. I was like, he's like, what are you doing today? I'm like, am I getting married? And then you're gonna die? Because that'd be great. I mean, what a tragic ending. How tragic would that be? There's something I need to ask Sister Sophia. Like, to marry me? My face turned red as I remembered our earlier conversation. Of course I'm happy, but it was just last night when we spoke. I didn't expect him to act on it so quickly. I could feel my heart race. We read these. After listening to what I had to say, he nodded with interest. I believe he already has an idea of who you really are. How curious indeed that he'd come to this decision. It seems things are becoming quite interesting. Asking if you can come see him in Berlin. Well, I don't see why not. I accept. Fucking love Emilio. I'm sorry. Emilio! I'm sorry, I didn't scream for Emilio. I know that you look forward to that. There's probably someone who hates that so fucking much, but, like, too bad. I could feel my heart race. Things were actually moving forward to make what we discussed a reality. Sure, I'll be waiting. Dante's like, huh? Yeah. You have something to ask Sister Sophia. Yes, about us getting married. Dante's eyes widened, clearly more surprised than even I was. It may seem strange given the circumstances, but I wanted to let her know since there's no telling what might happen in the future. Dante's expression softened as he looked at the two of us. Look at sweet little Dante! Look, and even Nicola's sweet little face. They're adorable. Stop it. Again, I want to be in the middle of this. It's times like these that we need good news in the family. Congratulations, both of you. Thank you, Dante. It was such a new feeling to me that I couldn't help but blush. I do like that, like, no matter what game, like, for the most part, I mean, there's some, but, like, when you're doing this, like, we're gonna go the next time, I'm pretty sure the next route we play is Dante. You know what I'm saying? And we're just gonna, like, hop right over and be Mary and Dante. But, like, in this, he's just like, oh, it's cute, guys. Like, no jealousy, no weirdness, no nothing. He's just, like, fucking throwing the flowers at it. I'll catch the bouquet, it's great. You know what I mean? Like, he's just totally here for it. Like, not even like, what? Are you sure? He's just like, aw, great. And I like that. But, Dante, just so you know, me saying that does not mean you can find romance with anyone else. My boys can never be happy with anyone else. I know that those are popular consensus, not really popular, but there's like a consensus, at least some people out there who are like, I want our boys to be happy when we're not romancing them. I want them to find happiness somewhere. No! Fuck you, no! That's not how it works in Spacey's man harem. Me! That's it! Mine! I'd even be sad if, like, a side character I love. Like, hello! Did we not have this? I'm not going to mention games or names. You know it if you know it. We're like, I love this side character. What do you mean you're in love with this other person? And I gave them up. I was like, you know what? I do want them to be happy, so I'll be okay with it. But, like, okay, I will fucking fight a bitch if they think they're going to throw Oliver some kind of wife in it. Fuck that shit. I mean, he's dead in this route, but you know what I mean? Like, how dare you? I'd rather you kill him off than marry him off. He belongs to me. I don't care if he's a side character. Like Leo? Yeah, no, I want Leo to be happy. So if he gave him a girlfriend, it'd be kind of cute. I'd be okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, alright, okay. But, you know. But, like, you, like, Gil, oh, this is my hot fucking wife that I met in America. But, fuck that shit! Orlok and Elena, I would set them up because I know he's a love interest, but I'm okay with that because I'm not into him. But if they're ones that I love, nobody can have them, okay? I'm greedy. Back off! There is not room for anyone else in Spacey's man harem but Spacey and her men's, okay? No other ladies are up in here, okay? That's it. Anyway. But I do like that he's not jealous. You know, because that's it too. Like, and then he's just pining away over there. Like, I don't want that. That feels weird. Although part of me secretly is like, well, yeah, because then that would lead down the like, okay, but we can have like a throuple, right? But since we're never gonna get an actual harem ending, I don't want them to be sad or jealous that we're in love with someone else. But I also don't want them to be in love with anyone else. You know, totally satisfied, happy, single forever. That's what I want them to be. Okay. Anyway, after breakfast, Nicola left the manor. Excuse me, Signorina. Bartolo suddenly approached me with a serious look on his face. What is it, Bartolo? Congratulations on your engagement. I'm so pleased that a woman like you will be marrying the master. There could be no greater news than this. I pledge to serve you with the same loyalty as I do the master of this house. Thank you, Bartolo, but we haven't yet had a ceremony. As moved as I was, I felt a bit overwhelmed by the idea. I was initially surprised when I heard it from Julia that the master was fond of someone at all. From then on, it was my greatest hope that your love for each other would endure. Oh, Bartolo, they should have given you a sprite. This is adorable. The master has long kept others at a distance, so it's truly incredible to witness this change. Indeed, I count it among the most remarkable developments, having watched over the master ever since he was a young boy. Thank you, Bartolo. Bartolo had been with Nicola's family for so long that he was practically family himself. I want to do my best to support Nicola in any way I can. I'm sorry, I clicked that way too fast as I was reading. Having this talk with Bartolo made the idea of our future marriage feel even more real. It was with happy anticipation that I waited until I can see Nicola again this evening. I departed the Francesca Manor in the car that Nicola had sent for me. I arrived at the church where Nicola was already waiting. Nicola, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. Not at all. I just arrived myself. Now, shall we? Yes. I'd never been so nervous walking toward the refectory as I was now. I'm so happy to see you both here. Inside was Sister Sophia, who greeted us with a warm and welcoming smile. Not yet time for dinner, but I was a bit surprised to see no one else was here. Sister Sophia must have asked everyone to give us some privacy. I was surprised to receive your call last night, Signor Francesca. It took me by surprise as well. Dante was right. Nicola really is one step ahead of all of us, which is dangerous. Sexy, but dangerous. I'm happy that you accompanied him here as well, Space. I'm happy to see you too, Sister Sophia. She returned my smile graciously. So, Signor Francesca, what's the important matter you wish to discuss? Sister Sophia, I wish to take Space's hand in marriage. Oh my! It's about time. Living in sin. I'm just kidding. Which is why I've come here to ask for your blessing. This may appear quite sudden. To that end, I understand if you have your reservations, especially in regards to our family. Please do not think that way. Sister Sophia responded to him gently. I can tell by how much time she's spent with you. You both have grown to care for each other, and I know you'll continue to protect her. Certainly, given your position in town, among other things, I may have been expected to intervene. But if this is what Space wants, if this will lead to her happiness, I have no objections to your union. She's such a good nun, isn't she? I could feel the deep affection in her voice. She raised me with unconditional love for nearly my entire life. You, Sister Sophia. Her mom's so good. Basically like her mom. Just as tears welled up in my eyes. Don't push so hard! What the? You had to fucking know this was gonna happen. I am not fucking surprised at all. The door to the refectory burst open, bringing in a landslide composed of Elena and the children. Sorry about that. Elena scratched her cheek with embarrassment as they were all caught eavesdropping. Oh, yeah, no, okay, so, what I was thinking before, then I was like, put a pin in it, we'll get back to it. We never got back to it because we never ended up skipping again. Was when we were in, was it Gil's route? It had to have been Gil's route. It could have been Yang's route too. I don't remember. One of them were like, we're gonna move and go away. We're like, we need to say goodbye to Elena. And there was this whole fucking thing. And in this one, we were like, okay, let's just move, fuck it. Never once thought of Elena. Never once thought of her. She's more pertinent in the bad ending, but we didn't give any fucks about poor Elena in this route at all when we were like, gonna pack up our shit and move. Just saying.
Sis, you're gonna get married? Wow, congrats, sis!
Congratulations, Space! I was met with a chorus of congratulations from the very people I considered my dearest family. Thank you, everyone. I couldn't help but smile as my heart overflowed with happiness. It's not like the game, like, it's just for some reason the music in that section. A short while later, Nicola and I accepted Sister Sophia's invitation to dinner and sat with everyone at the table.
Hey, Senor Francesca saved the both of you once, didn't he?
Yes, that's right. And there were so many things that happened, I don't quite remember it all.
So he's like your prince. Really? Oh, I see. I mean, Senor Francesca really strong and handsome.
Giovanni, back off my man. And then I suppose that makes Space my princess. Nicola didn't seem at all embarrassed to say so, but I felt myself blushing furiously. I can't blame you. If someone said that to me, I'd probably be like, ah.
How romantic! Will your wedding be in a castle?
That would be lovely. But since this is her home, I thought we might have it at the church. I was grateful for his thoughtfulness. I had to admit that I grew up imagining my wedding would be here someday. That is, if you don't mind, sister.
Yes, you're more than welcome to the church, Signor Francesca.
Congratulations, Space. I'm so happy for you. Thank you, Elena. As we told more and more people, it felt as though we were living out a wonderful dream. It's kind of weird because this is like the tragic bad ending, but we're getting this whole like engagement. We're like, it's so beautiful. Something is bad gonna happen. Like, we are gonna be like getting married and Yang is gonna stab him at our wedding. That's all I'm saying. It is not gonna go well. Night fell and we said goodbye to everyone at the refectory before heading outside. But they set it up like if you didn't know you were getting the bad ending. I mean, aside from that one scene where I was like, doesn't bode well. And then you got to hear, you'd be like, okay, blah, 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 we're in chapter 5, and then he would die, and you'd be like, what the fuck? Because they set it up in this point, like, no, this is so nice, we're gonna get married, and he has Sister Sophia, and everyone, he's so gonna end up dead. We visited the church together in secret. It was solemn and quiet inside, with moonlight bathing us in a divine tranquility. I'm glad I was able to say hello to your family, but there are still other issues I need to resolve. Unfortunately, that means we'll have to wait a while longer to have a proper ceremony. I'm sorry for the delay, Signorina. No, not at all. In fact, I was surprised by how soon we told Sister Sophia. I'm so happy. I can wait as long as you need. He looked at me with great affection, saying nothing at first, but then he smiled. And that's right. Practice. Practice? He nodded, offering me his hand. We've practiced other things. I'm just saying. A bit confused, I carefully took it, and he led us both to the altar. Our footsteps echoed through the church, and I finally realized what he meant. We approached the altar and stopped before it. He turned toward me, not letting go of my hand. Ready? I nodded in response, somewhat breathless. As he began to speak, I felt the sincerity in the words he uttered. I, Nicola Francesca, take you, Spacey Adornato, to be my wife. I forgot Adornato was her last name. I was like, all right, we have one. I promise to be faithful to you, in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. Why do you know all these lines, Nicola? How many weddings have you had? To love you and to honor you all the days of my life. I mean, granted, we've all watched enough movies, been to enough weddings that you can kind of like get the gist of it and do this. But I'm just saying, you weren't watching all that shit in the 1926. How many, like, what is happening? How many weddings have you been to? His voice was clear and unwavering. Despite it only being practice, I knew that he was speaking from the bottom of his heart. I took a breath. I have to reconsider. I'm just kidding. I, Spacey Adornato, take you, Nicola Francesca, to be my husband. We're going to be Spacey Francesca now. My voice shook a bit. I promise to be faithful to you, in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, to love you and to honor you all the days of my life. A loving smile broke across his face. I suppose we'll have to wait to exchange rings. I'll prepare the best of them for our wedding. Once things are a bit more stable, how about we choose them in Rome together? Love it when you give me your sexy little three-quarter profile wink. Because, like, this sprite, this three-quarter profile sprite of Nicola's the hottest one. Winking, smiling, frowning, whatever. It's when he gets the straight on there. You're like, could you just not do that? It ruins it a little. It does. It's disappointing because you're like, Nicola, you're so goddamn beautiful, and then they just did you dirty with the front-facing. Right. I don't know how they managed that, but I'd love to. Anyway, I almost couldn't believe it. Nicola really did want to marry me. He was already planning for the future. He really did want to marry me. I mean, he fucking just asked Sister Sophia, so I'm gonna go with that should have been a given. My heart swelled with love and joy. I mean, I get like, hey, we should get married someday. Okay. But he asked your basic mom, basically what's your mom, so I think then you should have known he was serious. And lastly, kiss to affirm our vows. Oh, that's one of our missing scenes. This is so wrong. Because, like, it's so beautiful. They give us the kiss CG and the tragic ending. Stop it. You'd have to, could you imagine getting here? Like, you'd be like, oh my god, we're totally getting the good ending. We're getting all married. And then you get bamboozled and you get the tragic ending? Holy shit. That's devastating. He held my cheek gently, leaning in closer. Our lips came together, and in his, I could somehow feel the love in his heart. When I first met him, it seemed there was a part of himself that he always kept distant. But as we got to know each other, he slowly made his true feelings known to me. Nicola's been holding so many of his worries inside. He felt responsible for Dante, the family, and their mission. Even when it was difficult, he pushed through and fought for the best outcome possible. Nicola was the man I loved. I wanted to support him in any way that I could. And now, I was falling deeper in love with him, more than I ever thought possible. Oh, yeah. Knowing where we're going, it's like, oh. Nicola had taken it upon himself to protect others. And now, I would protect him. Our lips parted and I looked into his face. I said, "Thank you." No, the right answer is I love you, but it's so funny to be like, "Thank you." Love you, space. Thanks. I just love that they put that as an option. I love you, Nicola. I love you too. Never loved anyone so much in my life. I know I've told you before exactly how much I love you, but sometimes it worries me that you don't believe me. Even when I propose to you. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I really am. I hurriedly apologized, but Nicola only looked at me with affection. It's alright. You can repay me by loving me for the rest of your life. Space, stay by my side forever. Till death do us part. You say that, and it doesn't bode well. We're in the tragic bad ending, and death is going to do us part. I know it. The night sky grew clearer above us. The moonlight shone more brightly now. His illuminated face was enchanting. I will. I wish to stay with you forever, Nicola. A single kiss from him was all it took to fill me with immeasurable bliss. In the face of all the future's challenges, we needed only to be together to overcome them. Others. Please don't pressure me like that. It's not like I'm slacking off or anything. Just wait for the opportunity to arise, so everything can go perfectly. I'm not as strong as the other disciples, you know. These monsters out there mean business. I have to use my brains. Okay, this makes it sound like it's Johann, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not as strong as the other disciples, you know. But that's not true, because Johann is one of the strongest. And he wasn't a disciple, he was a, what did they say? Like, not a preliminary. Started with a P, I swear. But you know what I mean? Like, he was, like, trying to be, so, anyway. Oh, but it does look like something's going to happen, so yeah, I will. In fact, I found something I can use to my advantage. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure everything goes well. Bye then! But somebody on a phone, like, talking to somebody else. We only hear half the conversation. But, like, other disciples, and it's like, I mean, it makes you think it's Johann, but again, Johann wasn't a disciple, right? Because in Orlok's right, he was like, I'm going to kill Orlok so I can be a disciple. So, is it just, like, random character? Anyway, we needed only to be together to overcome them. But again, it's like, there's a whole other character now that we don't know about? Was there another one? I'm trying to think. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the guide for a hot second. And see... Because I think they showed the new characters. Yeah, no, it was Johann. Because there was Yuan, there was Rui, there's Teo, Raul, what's his face? Why can't... Hill's dad. Why can't I... Eugene. I was like, starts with an E. Why can't I remember his name? Eugene. And then... What did I just say? Johann. So there's like, So you'd think it would be Johann, but he wasn't a disciple. So anyway, we needed only to be together to overcome them. No matter what happened, I'd never lose my strength. I was with him. Tonight would only be the beginning. Yeah, but also the beginning of the end. I don't know. Following afternoon, I was sitting alone in the living room reading a book. It was then that Dante returned from a very early morning of work. Gorgeous eyelashes. He sank into the sofa, appearing much more tired than usual. Welcome back, Dante. Would you like a cafe latte? Just as he was about to respond, Nicola walked into the living room. Ah, Dante, I'm glad you're back. I didn't see you this morning. Did something happen? I received a call from Orlok earlier this morning. He was able to make contact with the family supporting us, and they're headed to Berlin now from Rome. Dante sighed with relief at Nicola's good news. I see. If they left this morning, then they should be here by evening. I have one more deal to take care of, but I should be back by nightfall. Alright, we'll talk once everyone's here. Assault! Oh no, this doesn't bode well. Nothing bodes well in this. This is a bad ending. Oh! Drove by car from Rome, and we're now near the forest outside Berlin. Wow. Emilio and I had spoken the entire way. Stopped to look out the window. Ah, we're almost in Berlin, I see. The forest hasn't changed much from before. Know this place, Emilio? Of course, though there were more wolves in the old days than there are now, they would come down to the village and... Suddenly... Well, this is Yang! From behind the trees appeared a shadow. It can't be... Whoa! It don't stop! I gave him my order, but it was too late. Blade flew at the windshield, shattering it and impaling the driver. Emilio, get down! Yang cannot fucking kill Emilio. Oh my god. Immediately after I pushed him down, the car crashed into a nearby tree, shook us with great force. And there was no option left but to fight. Like, you're telling the driver, don't stop, and it's like a blade impaled him. He's gonna end up stopping, I'm just saying. I'm assuming it's just like because he started to slow down or like stop and then, but climbed out of the car to face the shadow. Yang. I like how they show the shadow like you're surprised it's Yang. Like, hello, it's clearly Yang Shadow. Alright, we'll talk once everyone's here. Hope this will at least lead us in the right direction. Their conversation left me feeling hopeful. I know that technically we should stop because that was a nice little transition spot. We got a few minutes, and I don't think we're going to be able to finish Chapter 6 and all the other bad ending, like, in an hour. So I'm just going to go a little bit longer in this part, and then we'll be a little bit long in the next part too, probably. So, whatever. I was in my room when I suddenly heard shouting from out in the corridor. Something happened? As I opened the door, their voices burst through more loudly. Someone get a doctor now! I hurried to the entrance and saw Gil carrying someone. It was Orlok, covered in blood. Nicola had rushed ahead of me and was examining Orlok's injuries. Oh no. Orlok's body was limp, his purple coat stained with a reddish black all over. Bartolo, call for the doctor right away. Nicola gave his order to Bartolo, who nodded amidst all the commotion. Wow. Understood. Let's have Orlok lie down for now. Follow me. Right. Nicholas swiftly led the way as Gil carried Orlok on his back. It's Emilio. The doctor arrived to tend to Orlok, who was lying in bed in a guest room. I'd expected the worst, but it seemed Orlok's strength was just enough to pull through. His body had been slashed over and over in a way that looked eerily familiar. It was similar to the wounds found on the Visconti soldiers when their base was attacked. Even though it looks eerily familiar, but we didn't see the Visconti soldiers, it looks like what we assume that, you know what I mean? It's just weird association there. Like, it looks familiar. It looks like the wounds that the Visconti soldiers had that I didn't see, I only heard about. But, point taken. It's just so strange. After things settled down, Gil filled us in on the details of what happened. On the details of what happened. I was passing through Valeno when I saw a crowd near the road lean outside town. I went to look and saw Orlok lying there, badly injured. He was still conscious then, just barely. Told him not to talk, but he kept apologizing over and over to you, Nicola. Orlok was in the middle of bringing someone important to the Fell Zone. Gil frowned, looking away for a moment. And then I'm not sure how to say this. I'll send a search party out, but I know it's a long shot. But we should count ourselves lucky that Orlok made it back alive. Aww. Though the events surrounding it were bleak, I was beyond grateful that Orlok had returned. Orlok must have seen his attacker's face. I'm sure he did, provided that the assailant wasn't wearing a mask. Heavy silence hung over us, and I wondered if we were all thinking the same thing. For now, we can only wait for Orlok to recover before finding out the truth. A few days passed. And that was only a few minutes, but it's alright. At long last, Orlok's condition had improved to the point of finally regaining consciousness. Just as I finished changing Orlok's bandages, Nicola, Dante, and Gil entered the room. You mind if we ask you a few questions? Gil seemed unable to hide his urgency. His desire to discover any connection to the Visconti attack must have been building a while. Wait, Gil, Orlok's still recovering. He only just woke up. It's okay. I wanted to share what happened as soon as I could. Aw, poor Orlok looked so sad. Though his voice was still weak, it was clear that it had been on his mind since he awoke. The person who attacked us was... Huh? I seem to be the only one shocked by the news. Gil's like, I just fucking knew. Yang, as in the Lao shoe boss? I had met him once before at the casino last year during a meeting of the family heads. I could tell at first glance he wasn't normal. It's so true, but it's just funny. He is not normal. Spot on. Nicola nodded in response, continuing on in a grave tone. Yang of the Lao shoe died, or so we thought. The face of who we found was beyond recognition. Beyond recognition? He appeared to have fallen from a cliff to his death. It was already a few days when we discovered his corpse. His face was smashed in, but we determined it was Yang by his tattoos. Looking back, his men must have shared similar tattoos as well. There's a chance the body was made to be a decoy. He's a skilled fighter with a grudge against us. After the attack on the Visconti, all signs were pointing to him. Still, I never expected him to be alive. Had I caught him sooner, things might have been different. Gil's expression twisted in pain as he clenched his fist. Yeah! Emilio and Oliver wouldn't be dead! Do you know what happened to our guest from Rome? Orlok closed his eyes and shook his head. Sorry. Save him. It's an off-screen death that doesn't count. Technically the Oliver one didn't, except for the way Gil pined for him. Like, Oliver, he had some paperwork to pick up. I was gonna give him a bottle of wine. It's like, that was like, oh, shut up. That was the nail in his coffin. I kept hoping, but he never came back, obviously. But, this is like, I'm sorry, I couldn't save him. But did you see him die, Orlok? Just saying, I don't feel final here. We sent our men to the scene, but they were only able to locate the body of the driver. And they found tracks of blood leading away and stopping after a short distance. Still alive, he would contact me, but there may be little hope of that. Philip cast down his eyes with seriousness, and Dante continued. Yang's likely behind the killings occurring around town as well. I'll have our men scour the Strano and Veleno districts. A good idea. The death count's gonna rise if we leave him to his devices. I can also confirm that Yang was the one who attacked the Visconti Manor. Said so himself. Gil's expression changed immediately, and he gritted his teeth. I know, right? You're pissed because Yang killed my boyfriend. Then I'll take care of Yang. Gilbert, I understand how you feel, but moving alone's too dangerous. Nicola tried to calm Gil, but he wouldn't have any of it. Oh, Gil's gonna go get himself killed. Gil muttered as if to himself. Sorry, Nicola. Gil, paying no heed to our attempts to stop him, Gil promptly departed the room. He's angry and he's gonna get himself killed. He's not thinking straight. The door shut quietly behind him. Orlok lowered his head with remorse, clearly blaming himself for everything. I failed bringing Emilio back. Truly sorry. There was nothing that could have been done. After all, it's Yang we're talking about. I'm just glad you were able to make it out alive. He hesitated for a moment, but then made up his mind and spoke. I want to share with you what I know, if you'll allow me. About what, Orlok? About what's happening in relation to the Falzone family. I'm not very good at explaining things like this. I'll try to tell it in order as much as I can. He straightened a bit, wincing slightly from the pain. Karate began pressuring the church at the beginning of this year. Karate? Wait, are you referring to Secretary Tarati? Orlok nodded in response. I had heard the name before as well. Augusto Tarati. He was one of Mussolini's supporters, working as a secretary to the National Fascist Party. Determined to get rid of the Mafia. The Burlone Mafia in particular. The Sicilian Mafia weakened considerably after Mori. It's only natural to assume that the government has their sights set on us now. Visconti's strength was greatly reduced after Yang's attack on their base. The government's view is that the Visconti won't recover from it. Their focus is now shifted to the Falzone. The church has been working to ally themselves with Tarati in recent months, and have revealed to him the existence of the relic. But they've struggled to secure it from the Falzone family, and now consider this defiance to be evidence of the family's betrayal. A messenger was sent here tasked with obtaining the relic once and for all, but he was killed for failing his mission. Is it Teo? He was killed? As stunned as I was by the revelation, a pressing curiosity pushed me to ask, may I ask how you know so much about this, Orlok? He didn't answer immediately, thinking to himself for a moment before looking at me. I'm what one would call a disciple. I handle sensitive missions for the church. Disciple? So you've been working for the church from the beginning. It all makes sense now. You were too good at your job. Huh? Orlok, I've known you a long time now, and the information you've shared is far more accurate compared to a typical informant's. I had a feeling there was more to you than that. Orlok fell silent. Wondered whether he picked up on Nicola's earlier suspicions regarding his true identity. After a moment, he resumed his explanation. Each disciple is given a mission to fulfill. Mine was to watch over and protect the keepers of the grave and the kitchen. Part of that was ensuring the Falzone family was properly fulfilling their mission. Which is why you approached the Falzone family under the guise of an informant. Orlok nodded quietly. So then, do you know how to break the seal to the relic? I asked with a glimmer of hope, but he only shook his head. I don't know anything about it. Sorry. I assume the truth of the legend's been lost to time. Which means there's no way of confirming whether or not what Teo said was true. As long as the relic remains sealed, the church will no longer offer us their support. We appeared to have reached another dead end. Not only had we lost the backing of the church, but we also had Yang to worry about now. The situation appeared much more hopeless than any of us expected. I also heard the church's disciples and perspectives are under new leadership now. Perspective, that's the word. Did I say that before? What did I say? Whatever, when I was trying to think of what Johann was, so. It's that. Doesn't mean he couldn't have been promoted to disciple in this route, but I'm just saying he wasn't in any other one, so. Very difficult to explain. The priest who once led them was known to have his conflicts with the head of the church. He was against the use of the relic for political gain. That was the reason he was killed. It's horrible. After his death, the disciples were temporarily reassigned to Emilio. Emilio was also against using the relic for political gain. He's a member of the family who supported the Falzone for generations. And now that Emilio has been killed, the situation will only get worse. The church doesn't know Emilio is dead yet, but we will find out soon. We don't know that he's dead yet! Once they do, the other disciples will move to action. I don't know how much time you have left. There was far too much involved to have a clear idea of what needed to be done. All the good that had happened recently seemed so far away now, right? It was as though we had been caught in the great swell of a tumultuous sea, known as the tragic bad ending. Powerless against being swallowed whole. Again, the tragic bad ending. Okay, so I was like, oh, it'll be a few more minutes, 10 minutes later, so. But now we're in chapter 6, so this is the perfect place to stop. I said I was going to go a little over. But hopefully chapter 6 isn't super long and we just get stabbed brutally and murdered fast. I'm just kidding. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.